Hello, my name is Tracy Worley, and I'm a review administrator in HRSA's Office of Federal Assistance Management in the Division of Independent Review. Welcome to HRSA's webcast on the HRSA Competitive Application Objective Review Process. Our mission plays an important role in the grants award process. We are charged with ensuring that every application and/or cooperative agreement submitted in a funding opportunity announcement, or as we refer to as FOA, are fairly, ethically, and objectively reviewed. It's the responsibility of DIR to plan, direct, and carry out HRSA's review process. Approximately 5,000 applications for discretionary grants and cooperative agreements are reviewed annually. So, let's get started. DIR utilizes three types of methods for conducting objective reviews: face-to-face meetings, web-assisted teleconferences, and field reader reviews. Face-to-face meetings require reviewers to travel and convene into panels for consensus discussions at designated locations. This method is generally used for programs that expect a high volume of applications. More and more, web-assisted teleconferences are becoming the preferred method to conduct objective reviews to reduce costs. No travel is required, and the benefits of convening into panels via web-assisted teleconferencing allows for consensus discussions, thus achieving the same results as face-to-face review meetings. The field reader review is referred to as a paper review because reviewers provide their feedback by written communication, and typically no consensus discussion is required. This method is popular with programs that have checklist type evaluation. This criteria is similar to programs, again, that have checklist type evaluation criteria and is used when applications can be evaluated based on established definitive criteria. The objective review process relies on the participation of experienced and knowledgeable reviewers without conflicts of interest to accomplish the objective review, including rating and scoring of grant applications. Each application is assigned to 3 primary or lead reviewers who are given ample time to study, assess, and preliminarily rate the application based on an in-depth analysis of the application in comparison to the published FOA criteria. The 3 primary reviewers will present their assigned applications to the panel reviewers at the Objective Review Committee, or ORC, meeting. There are 6 very generic standard criteria: need, response, evaluative measures, impact, resources capabilities, and support requested. Typically, program will define further sub-criteria and elements within each criterion, as well as identify any additional program-specific criteria in the FOA. Grant reviewer selection is considered based on expertise in various health fields related to health professions training, HIV/AIDS, maternal and child health, organ transplantation, primary care for underserved people, and rural health. The criteria for qualification and selection of reviewers include demonstrated expertise or knowledge of the grant program being reviewed, mature judgment, balanced perspective and objectivity, ability to work effectively in a group context, commitment to work assignments, personal integrity, and diversity representation, including gender, ethnicity, and geographic distribution. Reviewers are required to submit a conflict of interest and confidentiality certification prior to serving on an ORC. Reviewers are asked to review a master list of applications for identification of a potential conflict of interest, complete and sign the certification attesting to confidentiality and not having a conflict of interest on any of the applications listed. A conflict of interest, or as we often refer to it as a COI, or the appearance of a COI, is prohibited. The HRSA ORC process must meet the highest ethical standards. Therefore, we must avoid any circumstances that might introduce a conflict of interest. This means that reviewers are prohibited from reviewing applications in a funding opportunity where their organization or school has submitted an application for a grant. It is most important that review participants maintain confidentiality regarding participation in the review of applications. Review participants should not make any premature announcement, publication, or public discussion of participation in the ORC process or the review in itself. This is important to protect reviewers from the appearance of undue influence and to ensure a fair, ethical, and equitable review process. Review participants must not discuss the applications, comments, recommendations, review scores, names of applicants, and or their participation with anyone not involved in the review process. And they should not have direct contact with any applicants or associated individuals. Review participants should objectively review all applications. Each application is to be independently considered and never compared to another application. Review participants are not to consider or include outside information that is not included or stated in the application. If it's not in the application, it is not to be introduced into the review. Prior to the ORC meeting, panel reviewers should independently review all the applications assigned to the panel, including the face page, narrative, budget, and budget justification, in order to understand the evaluations that will be presented by the primary reviewers at the ORC meeting. At the time of the ORC meeting, panel reviewers are expected to participate in the discussion of the applications and ask questions to gain a full understanding of the applications being presented that will be scored. Chairpersons are to objectively facilitate the review process for all applications assigned to a panel. HRSA staff will consist of program officials and representatives from our grants office. Program's role is to ensure that program's policies and FOA requirements are effectively conveyed and evaluated in accordance with the evaluation criteria. The role of the grants office is to provide grant policy and budget development input applicable to assist in the budget review process. All review participants must read the FOA before reading each assigned application. Reviewers are required to review and evaluate each application based on the published review criteria set forth in the FOA. As I mentioned earlier, there are 3 primary reviewers assigned to each application, and they are expected to develop their own individual evaluations and scores and present to the panel. At the ORC meeting, reviewers are expected to participate in panel discussion of the applications and ask questions. The panel will develop consensus statements of strengths and weaknesses and provide final scores for all the applications assigned to a panel. Reviewers are expected to develop clear, concise, and accurate statements according to the review criteria as identified in the FOA. All reviewers will score each application by criterion. In order to perform facilitating duties, the chair must have excellent writing and facilitation skills. The chairperson works in such a way that the participants of the review are aware that the chair is in charge. The chair should set up a safe environment in which participants feel comfortable contributing ideas and does not allow stronger members of the group to overtake the discussion. It is a good idea for the chair to paraphrase contributions to check understanding and to make sure the panel has heard them. The chair effectively guides the panel through the order of review, always keeping in mind the amount of time the group has spent and is spending on each criterion. The chair should not make any decisions for the review panel. However, they may suggest ways that will help the participants to move forward. The chair should assist tentative group members to come forward with contributions. Always remember that the responsibility of the chair is to the group and its work, rather than to the individuals within the group. The review administrator, known as the RA, oversees and verifies the review process to ensure that a fair, equitable, and objective review is performed for each eligible application. At the ORC, program staff and grants staff provides specific clarification to program policies and procedures and is available to respond to any questions or concerns. As a result of the ORC, a ranking order list is produced for all applications in the funding cycle. The ranking is established by the final scores determined by individual panel members. The rank order is from highest to lowest. Funding factors include preferences, priorities, and special considerations. Reviewers provide information on the applicant's response to funding factors. The panel determines whether funding factors have been A, met, A, requested, B, met, C, if met, based on, and D, if not met, the rationale. The final product from the ORC that is ultimately forwarded to the applicant is the summary statement that was developed by the panel. The summary statement reflects the consensus statements of strengths and weaknesses by criterion and the overall final score from the rank order list. Thank you for the opportunity to present the HRSA Competitive Objective Review process. HRSA is always interested in expanding the reviewer database with experienced and knowledgeable reviewers. We invite you to become a HRSA grant reviewer by visiting the Be a Grant Reviewer link at https://grants.hrsa.gov/webreview/. I hope the information given today has been helpful. At this time, we are happy to have Ulis Dorch, our Division Director from the Division of Independent Review. He will be assisting us today with answering questions during our Q&A session. We are now ready for our first question.
Our first question comes from Maryland. What happens if it isn't known that a conflict exists until the application is being discussed?
If this occurs, the application will be considered immediately. However, the individual who has the conflict should raise that problem at the time. We will evaluate whether or not the conflict is one that requires merit and consideration, and if adjustments are needed to remove the individual or have them recused from the process, we will make that determination at that time.
Who determines if an applicant is eligible?
Eligibility determination is considered by the program staff, and also there is some verification and input from the Grants Management Office as well.
Our next question, what are the number of grants assigned to any given reviewer in a face-to-face review?
The number of applications assigned in a review will vary depending upon the total number of applications in the competition. However, typically we assign 6 to 8 applications per reviewer.
Next question, does the chairperson score the application?
The chairperson does not score the application. The chairperson's role is only to serve as the facilitator for the panel.
Next question. If my summary statement is unclear to me, who may I contact?
Summary statement comments oftentimes require further clarification, and should they be needed, you should feel free to contact either the program or the Division of Independent Review.
Our next question. Does applying for the funding preference give you a better competitive advantage?
Applying for the funding preference is an option that's available to many applicants. If an organization applies for the preference and in fact meets the preference, it will have the effect of raising that particular application score above other applicants in the competition.
Next question. How does HRSA make sure that reviewers have a complete understanding of the FOA?
Could you restate that question?
How does HRSA ensure that reviewers have a complete understanding of the FOA?
Okay, prior to the review, the program staff, DIR, or Division of Independent Review, and the Grants Management Office conducts a pre-review conference call. And at this time, this is where a program reviews the FOA, and there are opportunities for reviewers to ask any questions that they may have with respect to the FOA and the review criteria for that program. Did you want to add anything?
Yes, I do. This is a very important aspect of our process because it's important for us to make sure that reviewers clearly understand the intent of the funding opportunity announcement, the objectives of the program, as well as the approach for which they expect applicants to respond correctly and appropriately to the funding opportunity announcement. We would take the time in the process to be certain that reviewers clearly understand that and have an opportunity to pursue any questions they have before they engage in active deliberation of the applications.
Next question. How much time is typically given to reviewers to complete the review process?
Typically, we have applications assigned to reviewers anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks based on the assignment of as many as 6 to 8 applications.
Next question. While developing my application, if I have a question about the FOA, who shall I contact?
You may contact the program office during the period in which you are developing your funding opportunity response. The application period runs from the point at which the program announces the competition up until the application due date. During that period, please feel free to contact the program individual. You will find on the application document the name of the program contact person as well as the grant specialist should your questions have to do with budget issues.
Next question. When during the year are new requests to be a reviewer considered?
We are actually looking for reviewers year-round. So again, as I stated earlier, we do have a link on our HRSA webpage where we do invite interested individuals to please consider becoming a HRSA reviewer.
Next question. Are my review results shared with anyone?
Review results are shared specifically with the applicant organization that submits the application. This is considered information specifically to that applicant, and we only share the summary